going on? This is Eric. This is a quick video on giving gifts to people that are takers in life. So Adam Grant has a great book. If you haven't read it, highly recommend it. The basic cliff notes are there's three kinds of people: givers, matchers, and takers. And the most successful people in the world are givers, but only those givers that give to givers and give to matchers and do not give to takers. Second most successful people are, the least successful people are also givers, but they're people that give to everyone. And the way you can get a sense of that, and matchers are people that will give, in proportionate to what they receive. So it's a little bit more transactional in their generosity. This person doesn't give a lot to me, so I'm not going to give a lot to them. Or, this person gives me X amount of energy, so I'm going to give X back. That's a matcher. And then someone who's a taker, self-explanatory. There's people who are looking to see what they can get out of a situation. And they're looking to take. They might sound really nice and really good, but at the end of the day, they're takers. So, and these are not inherent traits. It's not like, you can open someone up and find the taker gene, but they're learned traits, and anyone can unlearn behavior and create a new way of being. But for the purposes of most people don't change. They are just how they are. So it's a powerful distinction, because a lot of you are natural givers. If you are friends with me in real life, or you are connected to me in some way. And most of you who are those natural givers have experienced when someone almost has a strange reaction to your contribution. And so people who are takers, when you are a natural contribution in life and you're not being transactional about it, from the tribal leadership distinctions, operating from the tribal leadership distinctions, operating from stage 4, and giving and being contribution to someone in stage 3, they are not going to necessarily be able to receive your contribution authentically. They might look at you as being manipulative, as having some ulterior motive, and they might even get resentful and cynical. This doesn't happen to me a lot, but when I was younger, it used to happen to me all the time, and I couldn't for the life of me understand it. The most recent example, I'm not going to use any names. I'm going to be actually very careful about how I word this. I do value people's privacy. But there was someone I knew, and they had a cousin who I met at a party. Very nice woman, very smart. And we got into a conversation, and I was talking about, I don't know how we got into this conversation. She does a lot of art and graphic design. And I was actually in the process of building a logo for my company. And she was talking about, working in corporate, and sometimes sort of the freedom you get of being a natural creative and working on your own. And there was a whole world about people who are natural creatives not really getting her, or getting her in a way that more corporate people don't. And, I could relate a lot to that. So I shared with her about the book Tribal Leadership, who, for those of you I've probably given away 100 copies in the last, 6-7 years. And then we also talked about some of the principles from a really influential book of mine called The 4-Hour Workweek by an author, Tim Ferriss. And I've given his book out on occasion as well. So I said, look, I think, she was very engaged in this conversation, and I said, I'd love to, if you're interested, I always am giving books away. I'd love to share with you those books if you're interested. And she said, oh my God, yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love that so much. Thank you so much. And I said, cool. And then I sent her those 2 books. And never heard anything. So I thought that's odd. Usually, when I say usually, like 99.9% of the time, if I send someone a gift or I send someone books or, offer to be a contribution to someone in some way, they usually thank me. That's sort of the people are thankful when you do nice things for them. And they're actually genuine and authentic. And, most people actually can get it when it's an authentic gesture and not some bullshit ulterior motive. So, don't hear anything. I shoot her a text and I said, did you ever get those books? And, I think I got a text back saying, yes, thank you. So I think, that's a little odd. Well, maybe they're busy or whatever. Fast forward a month or 2, and I don't hear a peep. And which is fine. People have lots of books on their book list. But being curious and wanting to see if my contribution was actually making a difference in that person's life, I shot her a message and I said, how the book? Did you start the books? How are they? No response. I go, well, I think to myself and I think, that's weird. It's a little odd. And she's cousins with, one of my closest friends. Didn't make it mean anything. Just thought it was, part of me felt it was a little strange. But, people have busy lives. Didn't take it personally. Fast forward another week or 2. And I send one more follow-up. And, that's typically my system. And, I have with my personal assistant, we do the same thing. If I schedule a meeting, I do a quick follow-up. If I send a text and I don't hear back, I'll do a follow-up in about a week. And it's just a way to stay in that conversation when you genuinely are, curious about something. Which, by the way, is distinct from reaching out to someone from a place of, validation or desperation. And I could do a whole video on that. Some people actually won't follow up with someone because they're afraid of how it looks, and then you actually look kind of fucking odd when you don't follow up with someone. People are stuck in that conversation, unfortunately. So, I'll do a video on that at some point, because some of you have actually been asking me on some tips on the way I communicate and how I happen to seem to collect so many relationships and stay in contact with all of them. So at some point I'm gonna do a video on not only building but keeping track of relationships and building them to be quality relationships, not just transactional people, which is not a relationship, by the way. So I don't hear back. Fast forward like a few days after that, and I get a message from my friend, and and her cousin is totally annoyed, totally resentful, and says that I should stop texting. And I said, you've known me for quite a few years, and I'm not going to be just obsessively texting someone. So I said, just show you the text message. Show her the text message. And it was literally 2 text messages. One was, of, hey, did you receive the book? And then one more follow-up a week later. And that was it, which is a genuine question to ask someone who you've given a book to, or 2 books to. And, I'm grateful and very blessed that I'm in a community where that kind of behavior is extremely abnormal and odd. But, it does happen to people. And the default response is, well, maybe I shouldn't I shouldn't share myself so openly again. I shouldn't contribute to people again. And you look at little kids who want to share and give and contribute, and then look at so many adults who are very stingy and hold back and hold close to the vest because they're afraid that someone's going to have some kind of negative reaction. They might not be saying that, but it always comes from something that happened in their past. And when you get that all that happened is someone had a negative visceral reaction to you. Now, there is obviously something to look at is, if you feel kind of strange being a contribution to people, are you genuinely committed to being a contribution, or do you have some other ulterior motive, right? No different than, let's say I'm on a date and I feel in the moment I want to treat the person I'm with for dinner or for drinks. It's not I'm going to treat you in order to. It's not I'm going to treat you in order to produce some kind of outcome. It's I'm going to treat you because I had such a wonderful time and it makes me feel good to treat you. And that's it. And by the way, if it's not authentic for me to treat that person at the end of dinner, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to force myself to do it either, because then I'll feel shitty about myself. Like I'm doing it, in order for someone to like me or whatever. So that's the only thing I would say is you want to take a look at. But, if you're crystal clear that your contributions are really out of a commitment to making a difference for people and for having their lives work or empowering them in certain areas of their life, then, if you are around people who are grateful for your contribution, who are like-minded in the fact that they want to be contributed to, and they want to contribute to you, by the way, then, you're not going to get many of those reactions in the first place. I certainly don't. But when you do, you'll be able to see how not personal it is. And, they're all there might be to do is say, if it's appropriate, there might be saying something like, hey, sorry if my message to you left you feeling upset. I thought you'd like the book. Wish you the best. I wouldn't honestly continue to engage with someone like that. But, you want to leave people better than you found them. And if you are being a contribution to someone who is a taker and someone who is manipulative themselves and who has ulterior motives themselves, they're going to see you in that same light. It says a lot about a person and with the accusations they make about you. And if someone thinks that you wanting to genuinely make a contribution to them is somehow you being manipulative, that's on them. And, you can hold space for it. You can get it. You can get where they're coming from. But what you don't want to do is start going into, oh, I'm sorry, I was being manipulative, or, oh, that's, please like, some kind of please like me. I need to look good for you. Because they'll still be judging you anyway, and then you'll feel like a shitbag yourself. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to be invalidating and dishonoring yourself. So it's unfortunate there are people that are out there like that, but I never want any of you to diminish and stymie the contribution you have to make to people because, one-off on occasion, someone's actually going to have a negative and cynical and resigned attitude to something that you're sharing that's very authentic. So I hope that you all can relate to that. I know a lot of you can, quite frankly, because I made this video because I've heard about it quite a few times now. I make videos when enough people tell me about something and enough people interact with me where I go, oh, this is a needed conversation for the world. So that's all I have to say, and I wish you all a really wonderful night, and keep sharing and keep giving. And if someone's a taker, don't spend your energy there. Just hold space for them, love them, don't make them wrong. And some of them do come around, and a lot of them won't. But it's not your job to change them. It's not your job to fix them. It's not your job to be, their white knight. And it's not your job to, dig them out of the mud. You set the conditions, see who shows up to the party. You force someone in the door, it's never going to work. You got to let them come in themselves. I know that can be heartbreaking if it's a parent or someone close to you or a loved one that, you really genuinely love, and you hold space, you love them, and they're just not going to be at the level where you want them to. And, it's unfortunate, and it's really heartbreaking and sad, but you can't do the work for them. You can't push someone into something. So all you can do is be a stand for people and have compassion for people. And as one of my heroes, Werner Erhard, would say, you can have ruthless compassion for people and never stop standing for people and standing for their greatness even when they argue for their smallness. You know, some of them are going to kick and scream when you love them and stand for them because they're, you know, you're not going to be enrolled in their bullshit. But, you know, it's like another one of my mentors, John King, would say, I love you and you don't have a choice about it. So love those people. They don't have a choice about it. Stand for them, love them, hold space for them, acknowledge the fuck out of their greatness, and let the chips fall where they will. Have a good night, guys. I love you. You don't have a choice about it.